Die Daredevil Run het onlangs plaasgevind. Ja, 'n klomp mense wat met stywe pers onderbroekies hardloop in die strate. Jy moet omtrent 'n daredevil wees. Maar dit is natuurlik vir bewusmaking van 'n baie goeie saak. Is ter bewusmaking van prostaatkanker en die hoof uitvoerende beampte van Prostate Cancer Foundation, Andrew Oberholzer, kuier weer vanmôre by ons, 'n ou gesig wat ons al 'n paar keer mee gesels het. Good morning, Andrew.
Morning to all of your viewers.
Lekker having you here again today. Let's talk about this run. I must admit, the Daredevil is quite a nice title for the run because you have to be a daredevil to run in skimpy speedos down the street in a public place. But it was all for a very unique awareness campaign. How effective do you think such exercises are? That's the question. Is it hitting the spot? Do you think awareness is being created?
Definitely, Pierre. I think just with men's health, you've got to make it a bit of fun, a little bit entertaining, give guys a bit of a dare, and then they're more likely to participate. If they're participating, we can get the messages through to them in terms of the importance of paying attention to prostate cancer and testicular cancer, and also just opening up the conversations.
Yeah.
It's a lot of men consider it a taboo subject, but the more we talk about it, the more we educate men about age and risk-appropriate screening, the more lives we'll save at the end of the day.
And that's ultimately what it's all about, saving the lives. And with everyone participating in this, Andrew, how important is early screening to win the game ultimately?
That's the most important thing, because there's usually no symptoms of prostate cancer in the early stages. Unless you are screening, you may only pick up the cancer when it's spread out of the prostate. We call that metastatic disease. And at that point, there's no longer a cure. We can only slow down the progression of the disease. So for men, they should consider screening from the age of 40 if they are black or they have a family history of breast or prostate cancer, because black guys have a much higher risk. And then everyone else from the age of 45. And the good news, Pierre, I'm sure you'll be relieved to know, is no more finger. It's just a simple blood test, because that is something that put guys off from going for a prostate cancer screening. So simple blood test called a PSA, or prostate-specific antigen test, will give us a good indication of whether there's something wrong in the prostate or not.
Just a blood test, that's lovely. We have to talk about, from a health perspective, what parallels can be drawn between maintaining fitness and maintaining health? Because a lot of us do the exercises, we do, but it's not necessarily that doesn't imply that we have good prostate health as well.
So we don't know what causes prostate cancer. We encourage men to live a healthy lifestyle. So watch what you're eating, exercise regularly, make sure you get good sleep, all of those things, because they contribute to other factors, our risk for cardiovascular disease, our risk for other cancers. But we really don't know what causes prostate cancer at this point. So it's not necessarily mean because you're an athlete that you're not going to get prostate cancer. It can happen to anyone.
The Daredevil Run that's held throughout the country, basically. What does the participation numbers look like over the past couple of years and this year again?
So this year was a record. Last year we got 7,000 participants. So this year we topped that with 7,500 participants. I think it's great because we're getting the young guys in as well, so we can talk about testicular cancer to them. But we're also getting them to think about health checks and health screenings from a young age. So hopefully future generations will be much better in terms of taking the health screenings that are so important and getting into that mindset of doing preventative maintenance and not waiting until things break.
We have to talk about the actual people then being moved to go and take screenings. Do these kind of campaigns actually, do you see people going for more screenings after these campaigns?
Definitely, and I think as a beneficiary, both ourselves and cancer are beneficiaries. So we use some of the donations that we get from this event to actually provide free PSA screening. Because a lot of guys in underprivileged areas won't necessarily have access to screening for prostate cancer. We're trying to encourage the Department of Health to make screening more accessible, because it's the only way we can bring down the rates of prostate cancer in South Africa. And unfortunately, we have one of the highest death rates in South Africa from prostate cancer in the world. And that's because there's a lack of knowledge about screening, a lack of awareness about prostate cancer, but also a lack of access to screening. So this Daredevil Run is really important for both ourselves and cancer to use some of that funding for free PSA screening for men.
I really think it is wonderful that you guys started this campaign to really create that awareness. And the fact that you mentioned that's one of the highest death rates in the world, that's quite shocking to me. And it's really something that we can do about it. You also mentioned earlier that men don't necessarily speak about it. For a very lot of them, it's a taboo subject. Now, sport builds community, these kind of races. Do you think it helps to build that community where we do see more open discussions?
Definitely. I think just all the media exposure that we get, the platforms that we are given to talk about prostate cancer. So for this morning, some guys might just realize, geez, I haven't been for that PSA test for a couple of years, and it's a wake-up call to go for it, because we really, once we get into the habit of doing it, just like our other health checks where we check our cholesterol, we check our blood pressure, our glucose every year, we want men to do the prostate cancer screening as well. And I think creating this kind of men's community, because it's the only men's health, or it's the biggest and the exclusive men's health event, creates that kind of brotherhood, and men tend to then be more open in terms of discussing prostate cancer. It's a little bit of a sensitive subject because of the side effects of treatment can be things like erectile dysfunction and incontinence. It's affecting our sexuality, and that's always very personal for men. So I think it's really great that we're out there talking about it, reducing the stigmas around it, and getting men more comfortable, and of course talking about the screening.
Talking about it, that's the most important thing. We're in an age where more and more men are focusing on their fitness and on their health in general. We go to gyms, or we start running, or we cycling. Most of us are on a bike at some stage. But it's not always, there's, like you say, there's not always a connection between being fit and being prostate healthy, kind of. We need to make that connection, that these two are not necessarily linked to each other.
That's correct. And that's why I think even those super healthy, fit guys who have fantastic cholesterol levels and their blood pressure are low need to understand that with prostate cancer, it can really affect anyone. We will remember Johnny Halberstadt, the marathon runner back in the 90s. Tulani Sibisu is one of our ambassadors, winner of the 2 Oceans Marathon guys. Both guys who live really healthy lifestyles have been affected by prostate cancer. I think the family history is always really important, because with cancers we're realizing more and more of it is related to our genes. So the same BRCA2 gene that puts women at risk for breast cancer also puts men at a higher risk for prostate cancer, we've now realized. So we're having that discussion, and a family history of things like breast cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cancer. That's just a red flag that you need to make sure that you're screening even a little bit earlier, so that we can pick this disease up in the early stages when it's curable. And that's the fantastic thing. If we cure it, if we pick it up early and we treat, 98% of those guys will be alive after 5 years. If we only catch it when the guy comes in, it's already at an advanced stage, only 30% of those men will be alive after 5 years. So early detection really is essential here.
Wow. That's a hell of a gap. Early detection is the key. Thank you so much, Andrew, for being here today and for chatting to us about something that men don't necessarily like listening to on Breakfast TV.
Thanks very much. And our message for the men this morning is don't wait until it's too late. Take the test.
Nice.
As easy as that. So maklik soos dit. Nou ja, hierdie November maand gaan oor mansgesondheid. Ek sê jou wat, vat 'n pel of 2 van jou, nê? Hierdie maand uit. Maak dit jou doel om hierdie maand 2 pelle te vat en met hulle te gaan praat oor hoe gaan dit met hulle. 2 mansvriende. Laat ons mans bietjie mekaar oppas, 'n bietjie gesels oor mekaar se gesondheid en mekaar verantwoordelik hou. Want ons het 'n wêreld wat ons nie gang moet hou ook, nie? Nou ja. As ons terugkom, net advertensiebreek, dan gesels ons oor die nuus, die weer en die markte.